What is going on, everybody? This is Striker welcoming you to Vlogmas day number 6 here in 2018. So I'm going to explain what I'm going to do here for this video, and then I'm going to have to do a quick little transition because it's actually kind of funny. So today's video, the idea was to drink 6 shots and talk about 6 really stupid internet challenges. So let me go ahead and start off with the caveat that first off, the internet is a wonderful place. Sometimes. A lot of good things do happen on the internet, as well as a lot of bad things. We're all pretty much aware of that, right? With social media, everything is available at our fingertips. Pretty much all news outlets now publish online. For the most part, it's all free. It's all there, it's all available, you can read it, you can see it. There are some challenges that I do need to mention, though, that are great, right? There have been a number of things to raise awareness, and actually the number one thing, I'll just go ahead and talk about it quickly, like the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Fantastic. Raised a lot of money for ALS research, raised a lot of awareness for this disease that some people know about, some people don't. You know, it was great. There were some people that took it a little bit too far and were using, like, you know, backhoes and stuff, and then had malfunctions, and then the bucket came and smacked them in the head, or people were dropping the buckets and accidentally dropped the bucket instead of just the water. But that's on them for taking it too far and being stupid about it. So that's fine. Generally speaking, the ALS challenge was fantastic. And I know there's been a number of other challenges to be out there that have done great things, that have really brought about a whole lot of, at least, awareness to a subject. So today, my alcohol, this is why I need to take a quick little jump cut, is invisible. You can see the level of it, but it's invisible because it's green, because it's sour apple pucker. You can't see it, and I couldn't actually talk about it. So also the idea of taking 6 shots is great, except for the fact that I don't want to sit here and measure out 6 shots and probably make a mess on my desktop, because my desktop is corrugated wood, and if it gets wet, we in trouble, boys. So I'm just gonna drink what's left of this. I know it's greater than 6 shots. I don't know how much greater. It's a 1-liter bottle, and I'd say there's probably about a quarter of it left, so however many a quarter of a liter is. I don't know. You guys can do the math, I guess. So I'm going to drink it straight out of the bottle, and I'm just going to finish this bottle off as I talk about it, and probably get progressively more and more angry as I talk about stupid-ass challenges. So I'm going to go ahead and do a quick little jump cut here. I'm going to get rid of the filter, and we're just going to talk in front of a green background, so give me a hot second. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Oh, there's actually a lot of shadow over here on this side. I got to rework my lights, apparently. Oh well, but yeah, so now you can see the liquid. There you go, it's in here. Now my camera isn't gonna cancel it out because I'm not chroma keying it. So yeah, as you see is how it's gonna be. Sorry, there's not anything else I can really do to it. I guess I could probably chroma key it out later, but then I'd have to mask the bottle or mask just the background. It's just not worth my time. So I'm gonna sit here in front of this green screen because we already did one in front of a black screen on accident, so we might as well talk about it. Setting down the lid because I'm not gonna need it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a drink of beverage, and then I'm going to talk about these challenges. Now, this is a very opinionated video, and if you do not agree with my opinions, that's fine. You're allowed to disagree, but I do think that these challenges are stupid. I mean, for the most part, they're all pretty harmful. There's 2 of them that I guess that you could probably say aren't necessarily the worst in the world, but I think they're stupid. Okay, so let me go ahead and take the first swig. As the first 3 gulper. There you go. So the first one I want to talk about is one that has been around since, oh, I don't know, the 40s? The 50s, maybe? It's the cinnamon challenge. If you're not familiar with it, I'm going to go ahead and explain it to you. It's pretty simple. You fill a full tablespoon with cinnamon, and then you put it in your mouth. And your goal is to eat it. That's literally it. That's the challenge. The reason why it's dumb it's because there's no point to it. You're putting a spoonful of stuff that you physically cannot eat into your mouth with the intent of eating it. What happens if you succeed? Woohoo! Right? It's dumb. Okay, so it's a powder. If you're not familiar with cinnamon as a spice, it comes out as an extremely fine powder, much finer than like your normal like grade of sand you would find on a beach, right? Much smaller than sugar or salt particles. Like, this thing is a powder, right? I'm sure most of you know what cinnamon is. When you put that much dry stuff in your mouth, whatever saliva you have will cake on the outside. It will collect on the outside, and it will create almost like a little pouch for it. If you guys have ever made hot chocolate, you pour the little powder in, and then you get those little like bubbles, where then you have to like stab the bubble and then keep mixing it, and you still have little bubbles of just basically like powder packets. It's the same kind of situation, but it's in your face, right? There's some funny videos where people like choke on it and they like spray it through their nose and their mouth, and it's like, oh, that was really funny. It was really kind of cool for that instance. But first off, cinnamon is a botanical which has a very high potential of being an allergen for a lot of people, which means if you find out with this gigantic thing of cinnamon in your mouth that you're now allergic to cinnamon, that becomes a health hazard because you can, well, stop breathing because your throat swells up and you die. That's the first part. Second part is there's just a general choking hazard with this, because even if you do kind of start to break it down, there's still going to be that central pouch of powder. You physically cannot create enough saliva, and once all that saliva gets caked around the outside of that cinnamon, you're done. And that's just how it biologically works. You just physically cannot do it. I'm sure there's probably someone out there and they've got some sort of like disease where the glands that are right here that produce saliva produce a crap ton more saliva, and they were able to eat it, drink it, because it'd have to mix. You can't just eat a powder because it'd just stick to the molecules in your throat. It's just dumb. All right, it's stupid. It has no point. It's just dumb. We're gonna move on to the next one. That's all I've got. I'm sure there's plenty of other reasons I can come up with, but basically it's a health hazard and there's literally just no point. Okay. I'm trying to pace myself. I think I drank too much on that first one, so that was just a big old gulp. So the second challenge I want to talk about, which I think is really stupid, is literally just a challenge of waste. It's the 100 layers challenge. Why? Most of the time you see this challenge, it's with cosmetics. So I'm going to do 100 layers of nail polish. I'm going to do 100 layers of mascara. I'm going to do 100 layers of hairspray. Why? Doesn't raise awareness for anything. Doesn't accomplish anything. There's a big old mess that you have to clean up afterwards. It's literally just wasting your products. It's exposing yourself to extra chemicals and stuff like that. So like, think about nail polish. A lot of people wear nail polish, whether it's on their hands or their feet, right? That's normal. There are a lot of studies that show that people who have nail polish on their nails for X amount of years of exposure or whatever have a higher increased chance of getting infections or whatever, or that if there were some of the older paints that had lead in them, you can get the lead into your system and all that. For the most part, it's not that bad, but if you think about it, putting on 100 layers, first off, I've seen some of these videos, they get like this tall sticking off your finger, like, what's the point of that? I did 100 layers, like whoopity freaking do. But then you also have to get it off your finger, so you can have complications from that. But also, once you do that, you then have to remove it with nail polish remover. Now, a lot of people don't use the ones with acetone in them, but acetone is a pretty common way of getting rid of nail polish, which is really, really not good for your skin at all. Think about the chemicals that are within mascara and the fact that, like, if you poke your eye with a mascara brush, it's probably going to burn. It's because not only did you irritate it, but you've got all the chemicals and stuff in it. So you go to wash your face in the shower, some of that gets into your eyes, and bam, you now have chemicals in your eyes. Same thing with the hairspray. You're just killing your hair. You're just coating it in goo to coat it in goo. There's absolutely no point to the 100 layers challenge. Like, that's literally why I hate it so much, is because there's just literally no point to it. It's just done to be stupid. It's not even a challenge. It's not something that is actually hard to do. You just have to physically sit there and do the same thing 100 times. Something that's easy to conceptualize is the nail polish. You put on a thing, you wait for it to dry. You put on a thing, you wait for it to dry. And you do this 100 times on all 10 of your nails, or all 5 if you just do one hand. It's a gigantic time waster. It wastes the stuff. What happens when you get rid of this stuff? It just ends up back in the water supply, or you have to throw out these columns of paint into the trash. It's literally just a time waster and a material waster. There is absolutely 0 point behind it, and that's why I think it's dumb. These aren't ranked, by the way, on a specific means of, like, from the most dumb to the least dumb. These are just things that I find dumb that the internet has done and turned into a sensation. So we're gonna move on, because that one's just dumb, and we're just gonna move on to the third one. The third one. I couldn't say that, and I was also speaking to the bottle, so it probably sounded stupid. I think we're doing okay for pace. So, third one. Same kind of deal, sort of, when it comes to cosmetics, but not really. Is the Kylie Jenner lip challenge. If you don't know what this is, applaud yourselves. Because this thing went freaking viral with people using all sorts of objects to basically put it around their lips and suck it into something, and then that would cause the blood to rush into your lips, which would then expand your lips, and you would feel the pose of duck face. The problem with that is that a lot of people were doing it with just random household objects. There were actually companies that created these little like suction devices for you to use to bring blood into your lips to make them bigger and fatter. There is legitimate possibility of tissue damage because you can only put so much blood in one area. You know, your lips already have blood in them. Your face has blood in it. But if you rush a whole bunch of blood to one area, those tissues that are normally just chilling like this have to go like this. And then eventually, if you keep doing this enough, they're stuck. Or it'll start to go back and it'll do like this. Or like this. Or like this. You're literally just increasing the size of your lips to increase the size of your lips for a photo or for a video, just to say like, look, I did it. But you can actually damage. There were stories of people who had ruptured their lips, who had ruptured the tissue inside and literally had like internal bleeding in their face because they were putting the pressure into their lips to draw blood there. For what freaking purpose? We already know she had the injections and stuff to make her lips bigger. And if you don't believe me, look at her photos before her family got famous. That chick was literally shaped like a piece of paper everywhere on her body. Look it up, for real. Stupid. Absolutely stupid. It's literally just a means of causing physical harm. It's kind of like one of those jackass things. It's like, let me see how many times I can get kicked in the nuts before I fall over and can't breathe anymore. Like, you're literally risking the health of your body's tissues to do that. Would you sit there and do that like on your arm? Would you put a big old suction cup here on top of your arm and just watch all the blood and stuff flow up into there? No, because it would be stupid. So why do it to a central core of your face, something that you use all the time to eat, to drink, to speak, to play musical instruments for some people? I mean, think about the amount of things you do with your mouth. If you mess this up, you're done, son. So that's stupid challenge number 3. And as you can see, I'm getting a little bit more frustrated. Alright. I will definitely finish this. I just want to make sure that I actually have something to drink for the last one. So, number 4 is the salt and ice challenge. There's no challenge here. This is again straight up Jackass Avenue. Let me put salt on my skin and then put ice on top of that salt. Ow, that really hurts. Ow, I have frostbite. Or ow, I have a cold burn. Or whatever. Why? What is the point? There is none. If you guys were never in Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, or maybe even some elementary schools do this, where you get your heavy cream, and you put your other flavorings and stuff, your sugar and stuff, you mix it up in a little bag, and then you have another bag that's filled with salt and ice, and then you put that first bag into the bigger bag, and then you shake that bag, and you make ice cream. If you haven't done that before, you missed out, because that was kind of cool. But that's something that actually happens, right? Because the salt and ice react to make it a super cold, super cooled environment. Ice freezes, or water freezes, not ice freezes, ice is already frozen, duh, at 0 degrees Celsius or 32 degrees Fahrenheit. But the freezing temperature of salt water is even lower, which means it gets even colder before it becomes ice. So when you put that salt down and then you put the ice on top of the salt, you're literally creating a barrier of salt water that allows that to get colder and colder than the 32 degrees or 0 degrees freezing temperature of water. You're literally creating an area designed to not freeze in order to inflict pain on yourself. No purpose. I remember one of my friends back from middle school, his younger brother used to do this like daily, and he ended up with red spots all over his arm from doing it, and he thought it was funny. Being in massive pain and that really hurts. What is the purpose? I don't know if you guys have found the overall arching concept here to these, but what is the purpose? That's my issue. You're literally damaging your skin because you can. It's like the Indian rug burner. If you sit there with an eraser and do it fast enough, you know, why don't you just sandpaper your skin off? It's the same kind of situation. You're literally just inflicting pain because you can. That's number 4. On to number 5. Alright, cool. So this is the infamous Tide Pod challenge. For those of you who don't know what that is, I don't think you actually don't know what that means. I'm pretty sure everyone on the planet knows what this means because this happened this calendar year. If you want to feel old, that happened in January. That's a real thing. That happened in 2018, and I know it feels like 10 years ago that that thing went down, but oh my god. Let's eat Tide Pods. That was literally the challenge, is let's take a Tide Pod because they made their soap detergent for laundry into these convenient little packs. So instead of having to lug around this big heavy jug, measure out your stuff for laundry, put it in, and then do the laundry, you could just go, boop. Simple, super great. I actually use pods, but for my dishwasher, I still use the regular soap. I actually use Tide soap, which is kind of funny. I switched off of another brand, but anyways, I use regular, like, bottled laundry detergent. I don't use the pods because I don't think in a conventional washer that we have here in my apartment building that it's going to be able to spread the soap around evenly as it would from just the soap. But besides the point, fantastic advancement in technology. All right, putting the tabs in the dishwasher is so much easier than dumping like a box of soap into the little thing, and then you get all the crusty soap that didn't actually get wet enough. The same kind of thing as the cinnamon challenge. You know, the whole outside got goopy and became soap, and then the other stuff just stayed dry and nasty in the middle. Literally the point of this was to eat a Tide Pod. For those of you who don't know, soap is not supposed to be in your body. It is supposed to be on your body, right? You're supposed to wash yourself. You're supposed to wash your clothes. You're not supposed to wash your intestines and stomach and esophagus. It's literally a poison hazard to ingest that much laundry detergent. People probably died over eating these. I don't know if they did or not, but I would assume they did because that's a legitimate threat, is to die eating a Tide Pod. A lot of people were just playing games and, oh look, let me bite it. Soap. It's soap. It's literally a packet of soap. It got to the point where Tide Pods had to be locked in those little security boxes that you then have to take the box to the register, and they have to check that you're over the age of 18. It's the same kind of situation with like the cans of compressed air. I actually don't have one right around me, it's around the corner, but the cans of compressed air, because I was going to just pull it up and show you. You have to be over the age of 18 because a bunch of teenagers decided they were going to start huffing it and get high, so then they had to stop selling it to young people. Same shit with spray paint. It literally got to the point where some stores had to stop selling Tide Pods because idiot teenagers would freaking eat them. Why? I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm going to finish this bottle, and we're going to move on to the last one, which is actually, it's technically like 1+1 bonus 1, but because it uses the same thing, I'm going to go ahead and just include it together. So go ahead and finish this off. It's really bitter down at the bottom. I don't know why. There you go. Proof it's empty though. So the last one I want to talk about is the condom on the head / snorting condom. If you're not familiar with either of those, I'll explain it really quick. The condom on the head, basically the challenge was to have somebody sit typically in a bathtub because water runoff. You take a condom, you fill it with water, not all the way up to the brim. Obviously, it's going to expand. Also, for those of you who think you need an extra large condom, you don't. Go through sex ed, you can literally put a bowling ball inside of a small condom. It's a thing. I don't know if there's actually size small. You can put a bowling ball inside of a regular condom. You don't need an extra large. You're not that big. Anyways, now that I've cut half of you down, you literally fill up the condom with water, you hold it over somebody's head, and you drop it on their head. And the idea is that the condom will kind of close up at the top, and this like bubble of water will sit on your head. I do know for sure at least one person has died doing this because it is a suffocation hazard to have a latex or a latex-like material, a rubber-ish material, fall down on your head, and it blocks your airways, both your nose and your mouth, because it's gonna fall all the way down here, right? Because some of those condoms would be, I know that you probably couldn't understand that, but some of those condoms would fall all the way down here. You can't breathe when both your nose and your mouth are covered. And because it's full of water, it's not easy to just go whoop and pull it off. There's some weight to it. And if you're panicking and freaking out and a condom is stuck on your head and the water pressure is holding it up against your breathing apparatuses, you die. And I'm sure the person, whoever died, because I know 100% one person died, because I remembered reading something about it. They probably were alone when they did it and didn't have somebody else there that would like rip the condom and pull it off. But that's still, even if you were with somebody and they just thought you were joking, right? And then they pulled it off. If you fell because you lost oxygen and like passed out, you hit your head, you break your skull, you lacerate your head and you bleed out through your brain. I mean, there's all sorts of stupid issues here when it comes to that facet of the challenge. There's literally no point to do this other than to have a condom fall on your head. And that's why. The overarching theme, again, is just why? What is the point of this? Also, the condom snorting challenge, because at that point I'm pretty much done with everything. It's a health hazard, right? You can make yourself stop breathing. But the snorting challenge, the idea was to take a condom, put it like up into your nose and snort really hard, and then you can pull it out through your mouth, because the way that your body is shaped is your nasal cavities dump out in your throat in the same area basically where the base of your mouth goes. So if you snort it hard enough, and you can pull it out through your mouth, through that nasal cavity, and in through like the top of your esophagus, up here right around, for men it's your Adam's apple, for women it's the same kind of area. Is the larynx? I'm not 100% sure on human anatomy. I didn't take a whole lot of human anatomy based things, but this area right here in your throat, right? You suck it through your nose and it goes right out your mouth. Choking hazard is the phrase that comes to mind, because not only can that get lodged up in there, right, and block a sinus cavity, it can get lodged down in your throat and block your airways. Or, depending on how you do it, if you are able to snort it through, but then at the base of a condom, it's usually like the thicker rubber, because you basically have to like roll it down, and then there's like just the bottom rim. It's made to like hold on to the bottom of a penis. All right, we're getting biological in this video here, so sorry for you who are offended by the word penis, but it's made to hold on to the bottom of a penis so it doesn't come off and then not do its job, right? So say you get the tip part through, which is like the thinnest part of a condom, say you get that through, you still gotta yank this big ass piece of latex or other rubber-like material through your sinus cavity. You can deviate your septum, you can damage your sinus cavity, you can damage anything up through here. God forbid you find out you have a latex allergy while doing that and all of a sudden can't breathe. All right, not a lot of people just go testing to make sure they don't have a latex allergy. A lot of people experience it firsthand, whether they get a rash on their genitals or if they touched a balloon as a kid. Actually, a friend of mine in college found out she was allergic to latex because she had sex with somebody, and then she had a whole lot of complications because she was allergic to latex. It's ridiculous. It's one of those things that it's just, what is the goddamn point? What is the freaking point of these things? There is none. I can already answer that for you. There is literally 0 points available to anyone who does any of these challenges at all, in any way, shape, or form. You've got the cinnamon challenge, which is an allergen risk and a choking hazard. You have the 100 layers challenge, which is just an absolute waste of time, materials, money, because you gotta buy whatever you're using 100 layers of. The Kylie Jenner lip challenge, sorry, I'm getting burpy from the alcohol. The Kylie Jenner lip challenge, where you can damage your tissues, just to damage your tissues. The salt and ice challenge, where you literally give yourself cold burns and frostbite for the sake of giving yourself cold burns and frostbite. The Tide Pod challenge, where you risk dying because of a systemic shock due to the toxins within freaking soap. And the condom on your head or through your nose challenge, where you're literally risking not breathing ever again. Most of these challenges are just so far beyond stupid that who even thought of these damn things? I actually kind of want to trace back the origin and see who in the absolute goddamn hell figured this out. Ridiculous. Y'all on the internet are ridiculous, and that's all I got. So yeah, I finished off the sour apple, and it's likely going to hit me in like 10 minutes. I can already start to feel a slight buzz, so it's probably going to hit me in like another 10 or 15 minutes. It's going to be an interesting evening. But good news is I recorded my 2 other videos that I needed to record. I got tomorrow's video, day number 5, and then actually the day after that, day number 4. So tomorrow, I have to record day 3, 2, and 1? Yep. I was just checking because I wrote them down all on a piece of paper down there to make sure I knew what the hell I was doing. So yeah, got to record 3 videos today and 3 videos tomorrow. But that is that. This has been way too long for me to bitch about challenges on the internet. My name's Striker, your name is the audience, and I will see you all